welcome back to Boggy Creek Life. It was going to be episode 2, Loving the Alien Continued, but instead it's going to be episode 1.5, Loving the Dracula, and you'll see why right now. Alright, so I went ahead and decided to not do the epoxy sculpt just because of time, but in the long run I don't know if it really matter, because I don't care much for this putty, even though the application is way easier to use because it's single stage right out of a tube. But it just, for me, it takes forever for it to dry. I don't even know if you can tell, but I had this sitting outside in the heat for at least a good 10 hours, and I mean, it's been 2 days though since I puttied it, so it sat inside too. And you can still leave like fingernail impressions and stuff in it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take a little sanding stick and just break this open, these joints, skim the top, and hopefully let a little air in, and helps the process go by a little quicker. And I've just got these little sanding sticks. You can find them online, get them at hobby stores. I think this is like 320 grit or something. Not very aggressive. I just want to take it and bust it open, because it seems like if it has any kind of thickness to it, which sometimes with putty you have to do, it takes forever. And I probably need a new stick. I think I maybe got these from Micro Mark or something, maybe, or Hobby Lobby. I don't remember, one of the two. But I'm just going in there and just hitting it a little bit, knocking it open, taking the top off. But I do have something planned that I'm going to show you next. I'm not going to make you sit through all this, so we'll be back in a second. And speaking of putties, let me know in the comments what kind of putties you guys use. Do you have any problems with it? I've used Mr. White putty. Hell, I've even used like Bondo spot putty, which I don't have like any kind of sanding problems with Bondo. It's just a real pain to put on tiny things because it's not meant for that particular application. So yeah, just drop in the comments what kind of putty you use. I'm always open for new suggestions. I know there's many brands out there, but I wonder if they all have this common rubbery latex kind of drying to them. So let me know. So instead, what we're going to do while the alien is outside drying, I'm going to continue working on this Vlad from the 1992 Dracula Bram Stoker's movie. This kit was produced by Pestilence Lab, which is Mark Worthling, and sculpted by Jeff Egger. I've been working on this for a minute. When I started the video, I didn't want to start on something I was halfway through, but we'll do a little time to see some paint work. And working on the hair right now, so that's where we'll pick up. Okay, so basically what we're doing here is we're going in and I'm washing some of the shadows in the hair in the actual sculpture that is recessed. But I'll just give you a fast forward of what's already happened. I've already painted the face, and how I did that was I actually painted it just a light natural flesh tone, like the lightest one I think Vallejo has. And I put the age spots in and all that, and then this is on top of white primer. And then I sealed it with some matte clear, dusted it, and then I just went back and I put a whitewash of Freak Flex Ghost White, and I really diluted it to get the effect that I wanted, because I didn't want it to be so thick that you couldn't see the actual skin underneath it. The camera makes it look a little whiter than what it actually is, but I just did this several times, and in between each one I would hit it with clear so I wouldn't go back and move the other paint around when I hit it with something else wet, because this is all water based. And then as you can see here on the hair, it started out white, and then I took you can't tell in this picture really because it's way too small, but if you get this picture on Google or other pictures of Gary Oldman Dracula in this costume, where some of the photos he has like these very light brownish highlight shadows in his hair. And so I went in and made a wash with another Vallejo color, I think it was sand, and I just brushed in some highlights, all through the hair, and right there is good. You can see the brown right there. And so now what we're doing is we're going back in with sections with this dark gray and getting it in there, and taking our alcohol, Q-tips and whatever, and wiping it off. And then I'm going to go back and dry brush some whites to bring it back out like the picture you see up there. I'm using this Acryl Pro by Monument Hobbies. Really good paint so far. I've only used a couple things from them. I've only used a couple of the colors that I have, but so far I'm not disappointed. Really good pigment. But I used it to make a washout of, which I put like one, maybe close to a dime size drop in, and I added about 5 drops of water. But then also next to it I made a watered down version of it, depending on where I want to put it, a little lighter. And I have some water and also some rubbing alcohol. I use rubbing alcohol because sometimes the paint will set up and water just won't seem to move it around that much, but that rubbing alcohol will get in there and move it. And I also have some water and rubbing alcohol in cups. I use it in the cup, the rubbing alcohol, if I really want to get a good brush cleaning, and about a bazillion Q-tips. Alrighty, so let's go ahead. We'll start back here, back. We'll go down here to this little section of hair. And I'm playing dangerous here because you should actually clear coat between every color process that you're doing, but I put no clear coat between these browns and this dark gray because I kind of really wanted it to maybe intermingle a little bit. I wanted the brown to kind of show through some. So we'll see if if my gamble paid off. Just getting there. Make sure you get down all in your creases. Try not to get up on your skin too close. Right there. And then I just let that dry for a second. Might be able to rub some of it off while it's still wet. The only problem I have is sometimes when it's still wet, if you hit it with a Q-tip, it will suck it back up out of the cracks. But these are kind of pretty recessed right here. Jeff is a great sculptor for painters. Been doing this a long, long time. Yeah, I just want to brighten up that highlight just a little bit. I dip it just a little bit of rubbing alcohol, get the excess off. And you see that took it all the way back down to the primer. So now I've got a nice white highlight there. That, I can go in. I'm going to use a couple different colors of white to make the highlights and whatnot on this, And plus this, on the actual model, the way it sits, his head's kind of cocked well, I'm trying to do it for the camera. It's cocked like this. So the light source would be coming this way, which is this side of the head. So I want the highlights, up there where that light would be coming from. But you can make it however you want. If you want your light shining straight down, it's your model, it's your world. And sometimes in the wash, at least the ones that I make out of, paint out of the bottle, not the pre-made washes, I had to go back in and stir it up a little bit because the pigment is heavier than the water, so it will settle at the bottom. And sometimes that will make it just a little too dark when you have a good loaded brush full of stirred up pigment. So I'll just go ahead and dip it in that rubbing alcohol, wipe it off on a paper towel that I keep handy there, and then I'll just dip the tip of the brush in the top layer of the wash, so I'm not digging down into that pigment that still might be laying on the bottom. And we'll just go ahead and work another little section. And I know there's a million washing videos on YouTube. There's a million videos of all this. And I'm doing nothing new, but I wanted to put something out there since the alien wasn't working out today. And I figured, what better than a little painting on a really cool kit. Really iconic looking version of Dracula, and just in my opinion, Gary Oldman, just a hell of an actor. I've seen him do all kinds of stuff. So there. I see I'm putting a little down in here where your shadows would be, because of, the folds coming together, light wouldn't be able to get in there that well. And I go back on the clean spot on the Q-tip, try to conserve Q-tips. As we all know, the price of everything has gone up these days. A little bit of that off. And see, it's already getting dirty to where it ain't really picking up nothing. And I want to go in here. Make sure I get behind the ears real good. And stir my stuff up again already because it's settled quick. I don't want to get real heavy black looking back behind his ears, because it'd be a hard place to get in with the Q-tip without smearing it all over the place. So, I may just go back in with some black on a dark on a dry brush when it's all done, you know. Go back and do the little details. Alrighty. And here's a good example. You see right here. It looks like a dried, like rounded spot of paint. And sometimes this will show through, like if you leave it like that with the next layer of wash, you know. Because like I said, sometimes water just doesn't move these around that easy, even though they're water-based after they start to settle. So I'll go and dip my brush in my cleaning alcohol cup, and I'll leave just a little bit of it in there, in the brush, just a little bit. And I'll go back and see how it just like washes that, kind of blends it out, you know. There you go. Well, blotch looking thingy gone. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a fresh Q-tip, get a little rubbing alcohol on it. Always kind of roll it on the paper towel, get rid of the excess. And like I said, our light's coming from over here. Maybe I'll take a little of that off. Yeah, that right there is good. It'll give us a nice light, but not like white. The lower part of a highlight to work from to get brighter. That's what I'm trying to say. Like a gradient effect. I think we can take this just a little more off here. There we go. It's just a nice little white on that side. Like how dark it was right up against the skin, so I made sure I pushed it in and pushed it away. I like how it's dark in there, but not that dark. Brush out again after stirring up the wash. Down here, take the towel, get out that excess rubbing alcohol. On to the next little section of hair. Recesses. Maybe work a little bit bigger area. Take it all the way up to the top of the bun on the outside of it. Go ahead and run it around to the front of his forehead. I usually use jeweler's glasses when I do this, which I'm sure you guys will see me in sometime eventually. But I already started by the time I thought of it, realized that I'm blind. And you don't have to get it right up against your skin, you know, because I'm going to go back in there with a real fine tip brush when I do the highlights and put white, you know, like it's his hair, because his hair is really, really white, as you can tell in the picture. So I'll go ahead and clean our brush out, because it's going to sit there for a second. Excuse me. Take the dry side of the Q-tip first, see what comes off. Probably not much because it's a little drier now, since we worked a bigger area. I'm going to take the rubbing alcohol side. You just give it a light brushing with the Q-tip. You see him kind of creating that highlight going up the bun there. And I'm getting lucky too that I think, because I did the brown very first, so it's been dry for a few hours because I did this last night. That you can still, I don't know, this camera, but you can still see the browns, like the light browns, like I was telling you about on there. Go back in there and hit this a little bit. It is dark, but it ain't that dark. But like I said, we'll fix all that later when we put our highlights on. With the brush. Dab rubbing alcohol. Give it a good press if you really want to bring some highlight out in some areas. Front, see, take that off, but it's still down in recesses. And yeah, just complete the process. We'll go back in later, put the highlights on. Well, actually, I'm going to clear this one after this is finished. And hey, if you want to leave in the comments, let me know if you got a preferred kind of paint you like or preferred technique. I'm always down to learn something new. That's how I got this far, you know. So, I hope you enjoyed our little painting session tutorial, something like that. And, yeah, just remember to like and subscribe. Model on. And if you like and subscribe, please I'd appreciate it greatly. Thank you very much. I reckon if you like it, subscribe. That'd be nice. Thank you very much. Maybe you would like to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Maybe you would like to subscribe and hit the like button for me on the day of my daughter's wedding. Yes, maybe you would like to hit the subscribe button.
Wow, subscribe to the channel of mine.
Subscribe to the channel now.